Welcome to TFC Live. This is season 3, episode 44, and I've titled this one "The Wheels on the Boat Go Round and Round," which I'll explain at the end of the show. So you'll have to wait till the end. Right? Yeah. G'day, Robin. You all right?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thanks, mate. Yourself?
In-house jokes are going round. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So why is he speaking German? Or his best rubbish attempt at it anyway. But there we go. Yeah. I'm not going to try it with Daniel. Can't think of anything. Lion King, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Evening, bud. You all right?
Quite good there, thank you.
Good,
See, I
good,
can't
good.
do a bad accent at the moment either, so.
You can do konnichiwa and all that sort of stuff, can't you? Hola. Buenos dias, all those sort of things. Anyway, yeah, welcome inside Bar Chat. How are we doing? What's that? An Aussie joke? Not a chance, mate. Good day. Yeah, whatever. No, it's just for Robin, bless her. We were having a little moment earlier on before we started the show. Ren will be in a bit. I almost said something completely inappropriate then, so I won't. I've just refrained myself, thank God. Let's get on with some slides before I really get myself in trouble. Right. There are quite a few tonight because there's quite a few things going on. Right. Here we go. Title slide as ever. Wheels on the Bus edition. Robin, I did change them slightly. Okay. So the Dutchman, that happened. Okay. Dragon's Lair, that hasn't yet. Although it actually starts in a couple of days' time, but they haven't told us anything. Who's this geezer? Just Mike. We'll go through that, okay? A bit of consolidation coming our way. Yeah. And then bug fixes, rebalancing, and all that other jazz. So let's do this thing. Whoa. Right, the Flying Dutchman. So this was sort of sprung on us, wasn't it? Yeah, there was this little picture appeared sort of like beginning end of last week, and we were like, "Ooh, it's a seasonal event. We haven't had one of those for a while." Little did we know. So, Robin, I'll let you. You're probably a bit calmer than me, to be honest. So, you take this one if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, well, just fair warning to everybody. Cranky Root is out, as well as the Angry Ape, the seriously ticked off Cylon, and the ticked off Toucan. We generally try to keep things positive or at least, just share the information, but sometimes it just gets for even us, where it's very frustrating. So just fair warning, it's not going to be the normal show. So let's just dive right into it. Yeah. Okay, so first off, the targets. Outside of everything else that happened, for me personally, and I think that was the same for a lot of people on the page, was that the level 13 target was doable with either Bat Ray or Razortail fleets. I saw multiple videos that were put out there. Thank you to everybody that took the time to videotape their paths and stuff. Once everybody kind of figured out, at least from my perspective, the damage seemed reasonable for the targets themselves. We'll talk about the whole Lotto shard in a little bit. The level 7 ones were also doable. They did put a fix in. I think it was Friday that they put a fix in for the icebreakers. The icebreakers were not performing as well as expected.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, a slight understatement.
Yeah, flame out anyway. But they did put a fix in, and after that, the icebreakers were doing it, and we're doing it much better. You could even use dragons. You could use fangs. There were a lot of other options that were there. So there was the opportunity for folks that did not have the Bat Rays and the Razortails to be able to do the lower targets. That being said, the prizes for the lower targets were things like Houndstooths and stuff like that, which I guess is okay for hunter targets and things like that. But then we kind of roll into the whole frustration of how are we going to get the people that need this stuff in the future from future events. And so, on a whole, would you guys agree that the targets themselves were reasonable?
Sorry, I'm just trying to stop my yawn. Yes, they were great, but that was what I thought of the targets.
Yep. So yes, and actually, Haffel just said the prototypes did really well on the 7s as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It did. Right.
Cool.
So
that was the good stuff. So now let's dive into the not so good stuff. This was originally presented as an event, a Halloween special. So everybody kind of thought it was like, in the past we had pumpkins and spiders and stuff in our bases, and at Christmas time we get Sandy Claus, and then we've had, rainbow wakes and things like that. So from my perspective, and I think from a lot of other people's perspective, this was going to be kind of like a one-time fun thing. that's kind of not what it ended up being. And if we could pop to the next one, the release notes came out and there were some things that were critical that were not in the release notes. Now, Kix has done a phenomenal job with the communication in the past. They've done, with the switch over to Chris, they've done really, really good. This one, they really dropped the ball on and dropped it in a big way to where it affected a lot of players. They locked this event down like they do a raid. So sector threat was disabled. You were limited in your resources. You were not able to relocate. All of those things that normally happen in a raid happened in this as well. And so nobody had any notice of this, so nobody could plan for it. I think it popped out like right at the start or within the first half hour, an hour or something like that. So people didn't have the opportunity to plan. It also caused issues for those that were not participating because they were kind of like locked out of the game. And I think the only thing you could do was salvage and FM targets. Not a good thing. The other thing that I noticed too was this with the staggered start and the global leaderboard. The prizes are actually affected by this, and people are saying, well, you get the exact same time. If I'm person number 98 and I finish first in Alpha World, there's 3 more hours for other people to, get higher than me on the points.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and that's exactly how I used to jump to the last world when the prize ladder used to be like that.
Yeah, so this time it was a badge. It wasn't, anything huge, but there are people that are very particular about their badges. In any event where there's a global leaderboard, we run into this. Sector is different because everybody in your sector and your world finishes at the same time. But when you start playing with a global thing, when you've got a staggered start, then that kind of causes issues. So, Kix did apologize. They said that they did make issues with the communication and that hopefully it won't be repeated again. But this is kind of the stuff. Oh,
hello,
there's
mate.
Ran. This is kind of the stuff that we were continuously in that was really irritating the players to know in towards the end of, the last 4 or 5 months. The constant finding out about stuff after it happens or right as it happens with no opportunity to plan for, adjust to, or anything else. So I sincerely hope that this is just a little tiny speed bump in the communication path and that we get back on track to where they were before, because if we keep going down this route, then it's just going to frustrate players even more.
I mean, I just wanted to ask the question, who thought that driving around in circles all weekend was going to be fun? Oh, no, it wasn't.
Simple. Oh, it was a blast. What do you mean?
I stopped on Saturday and I didn't start again. I was like, that's it. I've got about 6 or 7 girls, a couple of those funny things, I killed my fleet once on the weekend, on the Friday. I killed it on the Saturday and that was it. I was like, I ain't doing no more.
Did you get a skin?
I got the skins. I got 4 skins. But I didn't really care. I mean, because they make your boats better.
Sorry, did you get both skins or one?
No, I just got the Razor ones. I'm not building the other fleet, mate. So
I didn't get either of the skins.
I actually ended up getting both in the ones I did. But it's luck of the draw with the lotto thing. We'll talk
I may have some battery ones, but I wouldn't know because I'm not building the fleet. So
well,
I got the Razor skin, and I think I got 3 shards on the battery skins. But I didn't do I played that 1 hour you guys saw me playing on the open mic, and then I played about 20, 30 minutes again on Sunday night. But by that time, I didn't have you guys to chat and banter, so I actually got bored real fast. And after 20 minutes, I said, screw that, and I logged off.
Went and watched paint dry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was kind of what it was billed at, a fun, maybe one-time event everybody was looking forward to. In reality, this popped up not too far after it started, and I restrained myself from joining the show on Saturday because I did not want to say a whole bunch of naughty words. But I think it was just Mike that shared.
Well, I did.
I know you did. I figured there was enough of us doing it. But this activity will be the only, keyword there, only place for the foreseeable future to obtain the new limited components. It will not be appearing in the FM, bounty, or campaigns for some time. They may appear in purchasable offers, conveniently, at some point. But if you want these items, get them now. So this really made me mad. And I know it made a whole lot of other people, because bounty is optional. You can participate in bounty if you want to. Bounty prizes show up in the next bounty at a reduced rate, and then they show up in the raid, and they've also been showing up in the FM.
And I'll disagree from you. I don't think bounty is optional at all.
No, I think that's another thing you must do as well.
Well, true, but those things end up in the FM and they end up in the raid. So this month's bounty
4 months later.
This month's bounty price shows up in the next month, usually at a reduced rate, and then potentially the rate.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying overall, if you want to defend your base, even if you don't hit base as much, if you want to defend your base, you kind of need to get the technology in bounty, or sometimes you're going to become a farm for a few weeks until you get, or a couple months until that's in a raid or FM.
Yeah,
valid point.
Yep.
While bounty's on, they don't shut down the rest of the game.
True.
Which they did.
True.
Yeah. So this obviously is no longer an optional event. It's absolutely required if you want to stay current. If they make changes to the FM where you need this new countermeasure, then you have to do this. If the elite targets include super duper torpedoes where you need the anti-torpedo, then this becomes required. It also turned into event number 3 for the month. I don't know about the rest of you. I want to play a game. I don't want to have to think, oh God, this weekend's bounty weekend, this weekend's raid weekend, and now we've got these new events coming up. Now, I don't know how often they're going to do this, but I don't want to, it's like we're not cutting down the chores. You've now added yet another event that people have to plan for and plan around, and people are just really getting tired of it.
I mean, go back 18 months, we had a raid a month. Then all of a sudden, just over 12 months ago, we had a raid, and then a bounty turned up, and we thought, oh, every once a quarter, that'd be all right. Then that became every month. And now this thing here, this nettle, if this ekes into another weekend and that sort of stuff, then something's got to give, and it won't be home, it'll be the game.
Yeah,
Simple.
I mean, Bren and I were talking about this earlier. I mean, people have work, they have kids, they have family. Not everybody lives in the mother's basement and is on the game 24 hours a day. And there are those of us that have other commitments that we have to do, that do coin. So this is not like non-coiners versus coiners. I mean, I coin. I know a lot of other people that coin as well, but they don't have to keep committing time to this. And what makes this even more frustrating, and I'm going to skip this next line here, but what makes this even more frustrating is the stupid shard lotto.
Oh, yeah.
If I could go out and hit 10 targets and get 10 shards. So if I need 5 shards for the countermeasure and 5 shards for the Gale, and if I could hit those 10 targets to get those, that is exponentially different from me having to go out and hitting 60 targets and hoping like heck that I get the shards for the things that I want. So now instead of me doing 2 hours of an event that potentially, 2 hours I can get what I need, now you have to go and spend all of this other time. Now, the drop rates, at least from my perspective, were okay. I got one of the Gales and one of the countermeasures pretty quickly. I could not get the skin because it was like once I got those 2 things, all of a sudden all the cheaters popped up. And then I just kept getting cheater shot. And I've got so many cheaters, I don't know what to do with them. So they really have to look at this because you want people to enjoy the game. You want people to want to play. And I don't want to play if I have to hit 60 targets to get 5 things that I want, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's as bad as rolling for crews, when you want the X crew and that sort of stuff, and they're going, oh, there's a chance of getting that crew every time you roll. And if it's 1 in 10 each time you roll, doesn't mean like roll number 2, you've got like then 1 in 9 to get in it. It doesn't work like that. It starts off, it goes again for 1 in 10. It's frustrating as hell.
Which is another thing that kind of pisses me off. And some people on the page go like, oh, I got 5 grease monkeys and 3 demo squads and blah, blah. And I can only imagine, and these people tell me they roll like 3 million uranium a week just to roll crews.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how much seed time that entails. Even if you're doing all the targets on auto, just the seed time to roll 4 crews, to roll through 3 million uranium. Am I talking 4 hours a week doing that? Which is the most boring thing you can be doing in game, pressing that re-roll button over and over and over.
As bad as
chat, you can't do anything else. It's
Yeah, you can't even go in the chat bar. Yeah.
No.
going back to that, mate, and that locks in straight away. Okay, and so literally one of my guys has got bat rays. He went and got the anti-torp thing straight away. Got three of those, stuck it on his flag, one on his flagship, and then one on two other of the bat rays instantly. He's just done SSRB and that sort of stuff, and now it's instant fix on the map straight away. So by taking part in this event here, he has definitely now got a game advantage of somebody else. So straight away, it's almost like a must-do event. So he can now get uranium. It's now at 0 cost, instant map fix, and that sort of stuff. So anybody else that didn't do this event, that doesn't get those anti-torps, is now at a disadvantage because they have to go back into the base and fix. So by saying that this is a fun event that you didn't have to do, there's a real basic example where now he's got a step up above other people.
Or even further than
which
that.
is good for him, but it's just like, as you said, it turns something that would be optional, fun, just do if you want, into something, okay, I didn't do it, now pay the cost.
Well, and two,
I'm not pissed at that, but I get it, like, it's not a just for fun, don't have to do it event. That's not true.
Sorry, Robin. Go.
Sorry, Robin.
No, that's okay. I apologize. I thought you'd finished. And two, I watched. And there's people that I play with a lot on the game, and we chat on Facebook. And this guy's like, I got 2 of these, 2 of those, 2 of those, and I've got like 3 from this, 2 from one, that 2 from this, 1 from that, 1 from something. And when 2 players both hit the same amount of targets, let's just use arbitrarily 20 targets for 5 sets of shards. If they're arbitrarily hitting the same targets and one person gets all the good stuff and one person doesn't get all of the good stuff, that makes me not only want to boot him out of my alliance, but that makes it frustrating for the other players. And so, although I'm happy that he is getting what he's getting, it's really frustrating for somebody else that's, I've got I think 3 bat ray shards for the skin and 3 razor shards for the skin, and then it was I swear 7 or 8 of them in the road that were cheetah shards, and finally I said, well, bugger this, and I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, when they started the random chest thing, well, and it's been a number of months ago, right away I was like, yeah, I don't like this rolling the lottery. You do the work, you earn the chest, you get the same reward across the board is what I think most players really want.
Oh yeah, I remember
maybe
TLCs
you have to
were
work harder than the other guy, fine, but you should at least earn the same reward, not the chance of the same reward.
Yeah, because I remember TLCs where there were chests with random number of tokens. I think they got rid of those, but some people will do the TLC and get 7 days. Some people will get 16 days for the same cost, which to me it's a big turn off for coiners. Why would I coin on something when I can get half the value of the other guy?
Do you know what the thing? I mean, have we got another slide on this? I don't know if we have. Is this the last one, or have we got another one? We've got the prizes, right? The thing I was hoping, the last time we had a bit of fun that was basically cost neutral, but it was competitive, was the gunboat thing that we did, where everybody just said, right, for the weekend, have fun, guys. Here's a little thing. We put it together. And yeah, it costs some money. I get it. It costs some money, but you're reaping your retention factor and that sort of stuff. There is a monetary gain from doing things that don't necessarily bring in money instantly. Because then you've got the camaraderie of, oh, that was a real good event. I really enjoyed it. And people are then pro the events, the game and that sort of stuff,
Well, people still talk about the gunboat.
Well, I just did. Yeah,
it's a classic example. Because it was fun.
Probably the best event they've done in many, many years. And it still lives on today as a benchmark of what to do. And I know setting these things costs money. But this event here, we didn't, and as I said, you could quite easily have put that torpedo thing in this raid that's coming up this weekend and put it in the lock store. You could quite easily have put that Gale 4 as a 1 a week in the FM next month.
Even if they're the
this
lock
event
store,
didn't need to happen.
No, I was going to say they could have run the event. Here's how I would have done: run the event, give the skins, and make the skins exclusive, because that doesn't give a gameplay advantage, more of a vanity thing. So great.
And a badge, that's fine.
A badge, skin. Now,
leave it at that.
If they're going to do and say, oh, there's a low chance you get a shard or you get a blueprint for the Gale and the Cormorant, if that were to be included, period, then the same items should be now in the next raid locked store, even if they charge 10 million each and limit to 3 of each. But so it's like whoever didn't take part on this event, hey, you can go do raid and you can get it. It's hard to get, but you can get them. That means the Halloween event's not required. That's, in my mind, the right thing to do. That is for fun. You know what I mean?
They could have even done like, yeah, okay, so we want people to do it a lot and that sort of stuff, you know, and people to do something a lot. Some would coin, you know, because they want to get there. So, and just say, right, the top 3 people can go back through anything from tier 1 right through to tier 6 and pick 2, you know, blueprints. Not blueprints, but, you know, sort of like, you know, skins from any previous hold that we've released over the last 5 years. And some people would like to do that. You know, there's various things that can be done that doesn't really cost them. They haven't got to produce new stuff. They just take his ID down and go, yeah, give him the skin. That's it. Cost them zip. You know. Yeah.
And the other thing they got to learn not to do, and I think it's the first time this team does it, but the team before them made the same mistake, is you cannot have something where the top X players in the leaderboard will get an exclusive prize and then have the event start and end staggered.
Yeah, it's not possible. It doesn't work because you go to the last world.
Exactly. The guys in the last world will have an advantage because they'll know exactly how many points they need to be ahead, and the guys on the early worlds can't do anything about it because the event's over for them.
Yeah.
So it's just not a fair competition unless it starts and ends at the same time for absolutely everyone.
Yeah, I moved my whole alliance a couple of years back to the 400s for that exact reason. Because events were, or a few series ago, you know, a few years ago, raids were based on the top X, Y, and Z number of people getting the set points would get their best things. And it might have been actually the other events here in the arena instead. Actually, I can't remember, but whatever it was a staggered start, and it was definitely beneficial to get up into the 400s. So that's what we did. But yeah. So this was the first time I've seen that type of benefit for some time.
Yep.
Anyway, next slide, or do you want to carry on? Sorry.
Actually, no, just two more things. And then lastly, you know, how the heck is an upcoming player supposed to get the tech for this now? So we've done the first raid. Everybody's got their bat rays, all that kind of stuff and built. You've now got players that are now starting to get the bat rays, or they've got 3 or 4 bat rays and they're starting to fill out their stuff. You know, if this event ends up being quarterly, or we don't see these things back for 6 months, how are players, and what incentive is there for players that need this stuff to be able to get it? And especially if it ends up being, you know, some type of change for the FM or for the raid targets, I'm hoping that having these might save some damage, but not be one of those things where if you don't have X, then you're going to take twice as much damage for everybody else. So I understand not wanting to get all of the tech out to everybody at the same time and no reward for no risk or you know, that type of stuff, but you have to make sure that you can make that available at some point elsewhere other than just a purchase. It's somewhere where folks can go ahead and earn that stuff. So, you know, overall, it was, to me, it was a bomb. The whole communication at the beginning, hopefully that won't happen. And Kix has said they are looking at that. But hopefully we won't see anything like this again. I really would caution Kix to do not to do this monthly, especially in the format that it's in, because people are, and as you said, I mean, there are people I stopped. There are heaps of people I know that got just one of each. As soon as they got one of the counters of each of the counters, they just stopped doing it anymore. So, food for thought. All right. Mark, I think you talked about these on the weekend. Did you want to go through these?
Yeah, I did a little bit. So yeah, this Cormorant anti-torp is actually pretty decent. It's also very good on proto tides as well. So particularly if you want to do SSRBs with them and not have to build the bat rays, and actually you can do some of the raid targets as well, because they do actually work. And I was watching one of my guys in my alliance who did use up some of his bat ray tokens. He put 2 or 3 on, and literally I was zoomed right in, and I was watching the amount of torpedoes these were taken down, and I was really quite surprised. And they are generally quite good. Yeah, this is a really good. It doesn't do the super torps, you know, those ones that do the aura that have the ice fields. It doesn't touch those. This is for the Nighthawk ones and that sort of stuff. So not the interdictors. So yeah, good reload and that sort of stuff. Obviously, once you got yourself all sped up and that sort of stuff, quite a short range, so they don't kick out straight. 42 is not a huge amount, and I don't think it could be boosted as well.
Well, it
is. Well, because it's a countermeasure, isn't it? So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was more looking at what it was taking out and that sort of stuff. And obviously you can't see the torps too early unless you've got loads and loads of obviously.
And there's TSM, if I may. I mean, there's nothing you can do about the accuracy for this one, but with the right special, you can increase range and you can increase reload. So what I did on because I'm not changing my Razor Tail fleet, but the bat rate that I'm still finishing, I actually changed one ship to be a countermeasure ship. So I removed a special that was buffing the weapon, splash and whatnot.
All right, yeah.
And I put countermeasure loader 4, and so I concentrated the Cormorants and the Gale 4s on that one
that's
ship.
a good idea, yeah.
Because then they both gain range and they both gain reload, and the Gale gains from 60%, it goes like to pretty much 100% accuracy. So that way, instead of having the Gale spread on the other ships, now I'm going to remove the Gales I had and just put more weapons. So in the end, I think the firepower may be the same, but the effectiveness, like this guy with 6-second reload, that means if you're Skull, it's still reloading every 1.5 seconds. Should be enough, but maybe when you have 2 subs circling you, especially on bat rays, that takes longer to kill them, it's going to help.
I was impressed, I have to say. I mean, it did pick off a heck of a lot of the torpedoes. I was quite surprised. And I know in the SSRBs, not a huge amount, the Hunters don't fire massive amounts of torpedoes, so, and the subs that we're going to receive in the raid will. Yeah, it did literally almost like slash his damage in half. So I was really impressed with that. The other thing is obviously the main one is this one here, because this can go on many ships. Obviously, particularly your garrison stuff, as well as obviously the latest skirmish, razors and bat rays. But yeah, so this one here has got increased. It's the accuracy is the most important bit in the Salvo. Everything else is generically the same, to be honest. But that's considerable. I think it's 15% up on accuracy, and the Salvo is up by 1 or 2, I think, over the Gale 3. And then you add that up over a multitude, obviously, of countermeasures. It is heavier, but actually I didn't get to the peak of. I looked through a couple of my builds and that sort of stuff, and there are some quite reasonable gaps where actually you can get these in. So defense and all that sort of stuff is irrelevant because that's all the same. But the accuracy buff, and then putting on the countermeasure buffs as well that you can get through other specials. This then pushes things up to make it quite a considerable benefit to having this particular weapon. That's why this countermeasure. So this is definitely going to improve things like FM capability and that sort of stuff, and anything that's got mortars raining down on you or coming towards you, and UAVs and stuff, etc. Even got base hitting and that sort of stuff. But yeah. So this is a pretty decent bit of kit, to be honest. It is a little bit heavy, but then when it comes to PvP, it certainly isn't heavy anymore. So
yeah, now I have a question. There's something I don't know how it's going to work. I'll give an example. Phalanx 4. When you put Phalanx 4 on your ships, it has a much more salvos, and it has a much better accuracy than Phalanx 3, 2, 1. But then you can kind of mix them because Phalanx 4 has a longer range. This guy has the exact same range as the other Gales. Like Gale 3 has the same range as the Gale 4. So if I have only two of these, and I put them on my Greta Inferno Dragon mixed with some Gale 3s, this guy has more accuracy. I would love it to fire first, but it's not going to happen, is it?
No, it'll be the same. It'll be a negative.
Is it random who's going to fire first, second, third?
Yeah, you'd have to. I can imagine you have to take the Gale 3s off, or you risk losing the accuracy.
You can only take them off if you have enough of these. If I only have 1 or 2, I can't afford to take them off. So I think it depends on where it's mounted on the ship. So let's say your ship's facing the mortars and the Gale 4s are at the front of the ship. It's going to fire first. And if you're kiting, like facing away from the mortars, then these should be at the back. But it's 50-50 depending where you're facing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. Hear you, mate. That's the problem when you start doing same ranges and same reload times and that stuff. If it's different reload time and stuff, then obviously you get like a double boost effect, which that was the other countermeasure, the same sort of thing. It's the
the good thing in the end is that the Gales don't tag the mortars, so they will fire more than once at the same projectile until they kill it. So if you have a whole bunch of mortars coming, even if this one doesn't fire first, eventually it's going to fire with higher accuracy. unless it's too late and the mortar's traveling fast and it already hits the water. So I'm just saying, ideally, just for all the players out there, ideally you'd have only these on a ship with max range without mixing. But if you mix, then you don't control the accuracy and you kind of don't control who's going to fire first.
It's interesting. I don't know if I make a game up there. So yeah, sidebar chat there. Damage type, anti-explosive. Doesn't normally say anti-explosive, does it?
Yeah, it does. The Gales, the Hailstorms, all these guys were always anti-explosive, just as flak guns were always anti-missile.
It's a true countermeasure. So long as it's got countermeasure written in the special you're putting on, you should get the bonus.
Yeah, if you look at the specials like countermeasure loader, for instance, they will increase the anti-explosive accuracy and the anti-missile accuracy, but they don't increase the accuracy of the generic countermeasure type.
Yeah.
That's why you have 3 types.
Got you. Okie dokie.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. That's a Gale defense system 4, and it's slightly heavier, but yeah, a huge boost in accuracy and an extra salvo and that sort of stuff. And I think it works out that basically 3 of these equals to like 4 Gale 3s. I think it was something like that. So then work out the weights and see what you think. But the fact is, it's not quite that straightforward because obviously the accuracy is the bit that's important, especially when you start putting the extra specials on as well. Yeah, so Dragon's Lair is next. Obviously, hello, wheels on the bus is what I'm saying, round and round. So here we are. Look, we've done a month's worth of stuff. We haven't got a weekend off, and we're straight into it. This Thursday coming, in fact. Okay, it's the raid 2 of series for the skirmish, 2 of 3. Okay, and all we know basically, because the notes aren't out unless anybody can tell me otherwise, and I'll bring up the forum page. But one of the top prizes is going to be the Proto Apollo. Proto Apollo obviously is for the 3rd corner on the SSRB. Obviously, it's the assault one. Get it if you can be bothered, basically. And if you don't want to, then use your mantis out on the map targets because you'll do fine. But for the long haul, the SSRBs should stay pretty constant throughout, while the raid ones, the ones on the world map, should cycle. That's generally about it. Can't guarantee it, but that's generally it. And it does say that this is the last one they're going to do for some considerable time, because they're not going to do the 4th corner, which would be the garrison one, because they don't want to, basically, because they have to do something completely different to the FM fleet. So this is one of the main prizes. Everything else, I take it, is the same. We haven't seen the notes yet because they're delayed for some reason. That's becoming the norm, it seems like, for the raid notes. But yeah, that's the name of it. It's a normal weekend, that sort of stuff. Whether there'll be a second set of targets, because we had like the 100 and that sort of stuff. When we go up another 2 numbers like we did last time, and you still get to use the original targets but don't get a bonus, that wouldn't surprise me at all, because that seems to be the norm now, which is not the end of the world, to be honest. So if I can hit the 100 and carry on with the fleet I've got, then am I bothered about the Proto Apollo? Don't know. See how hard it is to get it, to be honest, and how much it's probably in there for. 20 million points probably, or something. I don't know.
I'm curious as to see whether they're going to put the targets in for the mantis again this time.
Well, they said no, didn't they, last time? So I don't think so. Well, well, let's see. I mean, they said they wouldn't do it. It was just to start people off, to get people into getting these latest skirmisher hulls. So that was the secondary sub note I read. But
I will not expect those targets to come back.
No. But there were a couple of other things in there that were quite good. The Blitz one was quite reasonable and that sort of stuff. So if you want to go that avenue. But yeah, look, I'll grin and bear it and that sort of stuff. But and if not, it might be a bit of pally help from, around the alliance, as we did as an alliance. And then one person hit 2 of one type and another person hit 2 of another type, sort of stuff, and then collectively you both got the bonuses overall. So, hey, but obviously you get risk targets getting stolen off you. Can't say much more. That's Dragon's Lair. Starts this week. End event, starts Thursday. Normal things, the rolling cycle, blah, blah, blah. Everything gets switched off, blah, 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 and that sort of stuff, Stack up on everything you need, because you've only got literally 48 hours to do so, and otherwise you're going to be out of uranium and stuff again very quickly. Right. Yeah. So interestingly then, if you're not up to this, the Dragon's Lair, then apparently you can do this instead, the Crushing Tide TLC. So basically you can get yourself a set of tides up and running and then get yourself into the event, probably, to be honest, because obviously this is skirmish as well. I don't know. Is it the same thing again as it did last time? Like a shed load of tokens enough to build how many ships is that?
I did it last time. You can actually get, if you do it right, if you do it smart, you can get 5 Tide Seekers out, or if you already have the flagship, the Harlock Tide Seeker, you get 4. But you can get 5. And here's how. Either you do price pack 1, and you start a Tide Seeker, and you build it with the 9 tokens, 1 or 2 of them, like not fully built, partially built. And then you use, the thing was the VXP tokens, they don't stack too many of them. So you kind of had to use them, or you'd lose them. So you do pack 1, you build a little bit, you do pack 2, you build a bit more, you do pack 3, you build a bit more, and you spread those VXP tokens. That's one way. And then to finish them off, you can use the 20. The problem is like the last price pack is not like 20 days, 20 times 1 day tokens. 1 token of 20 days to build.
Yeah.
If you're smart, though, I was gonna say, if you have your shipyard upgraded to level 6, which I understand people needing that probably won't have, but if you do, you check the expert build button, and it actually builds a complete, fully loaded Tide Seeker in about 3 days and already sculled, so you don't even need the VXP tokens. You can do either way.
That's pretty good. There is a
the
third
only thing
way.
you've got to manage is the VXP tokens because they don't stack.
If you're a very light or a mild coiner, there is a third way, and that's that offer there. You know, which is ridiculously cheap when you think about it. But then again, it is a 3.5-year-old fleet. You know. But for 3, I mean, the offer's up now and that sort of stuff. You can go and buy that fleet sort of stuff, and then go and smash out a bit of the TLC.
But wait a second, that's not a fleet. That's 1 ship.
No, it's a fleetlet because it's the Harlock's Tide Seeker, and then
that's the flagship.
And then a Tide Seeker, Tide Seeker, Tide Seeker, and Tide Seeker.
Okay.
So for £3, that's $5, isn't it? You're getting basically all 5 ships.
Oh, I see on the side. I didn't see the side there.
It's not a perfect.
Than a McDonald's Happy Meal.
Well, it's a Happy Meal, you know. Yeah. It's 1 beer over here. So if you're a very light coiner or catching up, that could be a little investment. And actually, there is somebody on the page that's already gone and bought this here, and he's gone and hit some uranium targets, and he's doing quite well with them. So he's now waiting for the TLC to kick in, and once that kicks in, he knows then he'll get the targets, the tokens, and then he'll do a little bit of a refit. So. Yeah, it's a bit of a win-win. So it's just a shortcut way if you want to not have to do all the TLC, or you want to get on with it straight away and that sort of stuff. There are options as ever. Geez, where do you drink? What, you're saying it's expensive for that beer, is it? Or is that cheap? I don't know, mate. I can actually get 2 or 3 beers for that price where I drink, but hey, there's one advantage to being in the job that I'm in. Right. Yeah. Oh. Right. Do you want to pause then, Ren, since you got some comments up there?
No, it's something about the game, but not in the context of the news and whatnot. So let's keep doing the flow. In the end, I want to share a spreadsheet.
Oh, okay. All right, mate. Who is this guy? Kicks Just Mike. Who is he? Okay. Robin, enlighten us. Come on.
Oh, sure. Throw me on the bus.
I said the wheels on the boat go round and round. This is your turn.
Yeah. Just Mike, people might have seen him on not only on the forums but also on Discord a lot. He's been out there a lot. Mike is actually the GM of Battle Pirates. So this is not just some customer service person. This is, this is the big cheese. So very excited to see that he is and has been not only on the forums but also on Discord, but also engaging with the players. If you've been and spent any time on Discord, there's actually been a lot of interaction backwards and forwards between players as well as other Kicks people and stuff. So he put out a notice yesterday and went over a couple of things, and we don't have to go through all of these. It's out there on the forum for everybody to see it, but he did make some key points. Talked about the phase 1 of the PvP refactor, which of course everybody is looking forward to find out what that's all about. I also talked about the sector consolidation, which we're going to run through here in just a second. And then he also spoke about reducing sniping in the month of November, which is something I know everybody is excited to hear about. And
No. 85% of the players are excited to hear, because 15 voted to leave people snipe as they want.
Okay, and let me see. One of them was Luke. And one, no, it's just joking. But so yeah, sniping is a big thing for folks. And then future phases of the PPV.
Whoa!
I can't talk today.
PvP.
PvP. Yep. So if you could pop on to the next one, and then he also spoke about the HTML changes that are going to be coming up soon. Obviously, it's not going to fix everything. I think he used the term toaster computer, which I thought was rather funny. And then they also talked about Bounty getting an overhaul along with VXP. So these were just, I took like little snippets out of this. Take the time to go read his post. The post is also open for comments. So you can, share feedback on that post itself. And then he's also given what his Discord name is as well on the Discord channel. But so I did want to bring that up. And I hope that we'll continue to see, this type of information come from the guy that's pretty much over everybody in the Battle Pirates game. So I just thought I'd share.
And I think that's awesome, because people for the longest time complained that Kickstarter was only listening to a small group of people through things like Town Hall or closed pages and this and that. I mean, those things still exist. But now you have the designers, the community manager, and their boss, Mike, reaching out to everyone and chatting openly to players. Like, he's not there 24 hours a day, but guy shows up every now and then and chats for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, takes questions, asks questions, listens to people. And I see some of that feedback making its way into the game. So, I'm a bit frustrated with the game itself, but I dare say this is the most open team, forthcoming team that I've ever seen managing this game. And, I have the impression they're really trying to do the right thing that will balance, of course, their business needs for income and profit and the players' needs for a good game and where you feel worth spending your time and money. Are we there yet? No, but they're trying.
It's a slippery slope, and they've gone down a slope for years without a rope to pull themselves back up again. So now they're just turning around on the down escalator and trying to get back to the top again. And I get it; it's going to be hard. Of course, it's going to be hard, and that's basically what Mike's saying. Mike is a player. I've actually seen him play the game, literally real time, playing the game, and actually he's been on several forums.
51, right? No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's quite good. He's not, he's a bit of a Liam, but he is a player. So
a bit of a Liam.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying he's a bit of a Liam, but
Yeah, you mean he can drive subs? Okay, I get
it. But he is a player, and he's on the forums in various guises in various locations, and some of his comments he'll put in the forums. You can tell he's a player because actually it's got player experience coming out of what he's saying. It's not just oh yeah, if you do this, this is what the corporation says. It's from a player perspective. So it's nice that he actually does take the time at that level, that he actually takes time to play one of his own games that he's in charge of, sort of stuff, which I was, pleasantly surprised to encounter, put it that way. So
yeah, I certainly can't.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I certainly can't fault the level of engagement. I mean, we've never. I don't think in the short time that I've played the game, I've never seen so many people in so many different places interact with so many different players.
Yeah, and just quickly, they acknowledged the last 3 or 4 weeks because they've been trying to it's nearly swore, unmess the situation. They've stepped off a little bit on the BP forward and all that sort of stuff, but they are coming back, and I think they're in a position now where they've probably said quite a lot recently. So they're going to do like their live shows and that sort of stuff monthly and that sort of stuff. That's their plan, and then get back with a look forwards and that sort of thing. So, but there has been quite a few issues, particularly the sniping issue is definitely at the top of the agenda, and that sort of stuff it's there. So, yeah, they've got some plans, but they're just they have definitely scuppered off the communication of the last couple of weeks, which is probably already thought that the previous event over the weekend has delivered badly. But hey, it is what it is. Right. Do you want me to move on, or where do you want to go?
Yeah,
next?
move on.
Next one. Okay. Yeah. So this is on the forum, okay, and actually on the Kicks Eyes forum. You've got to be saying careful what you're saying forum now. So not Discord, that sort of stuff. This is on Kicks Eyes forum. This is Mike, okay, and he's asking the question: what do you hate the most? It's a bit frustrating. The only thing, and you know, nothing's perfect. We're all humans, that stuff. But he has tagged together repair and refit. And I'd like that should have been two separate ones. I really do think the repair time and refit time are two completely separate issues, to be honest. But he's having a crack at it.
Refit should be more tagged to build, the next option, not repair.
Yeah, build and repair. Yeah, because building is building, isn't it? And repair is you know. But he's even got things like sniping in there and that sort of stuff. So, and you know, you still have a chance to comment and extra things at the bottom. So it's you know. They are trying, you know, he is listening and that sort of stuff. So, and he said on his little brief, you can read it. He reads literally, he gets his team and he ensures that doesn't matter what forum it is, they read everything, they read the comments, you know, they're going on the game, they're reading world comms, that sort of stuff, you know, they know sniping's an issue, you know, and they know there are several things going on that people aren't pleased with. Discord is helping a little bit because it's a little bit looser. In terms of feedback and that sort of stuff, but people are getting some good results from that. So it's just another medium, okay? But they did confirm that the forum would be the guaranteed place where you would get the textbook answer from the corporation, put it that way. Although their own Facebook page is telling you about the raid and that sort of stuff. That's where it was first. But yeah, anyway. So they're trying. I generally believe they are trying. But yeah, so that's on the.
Not sure I'll be here to see, but maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Yeah.
They're trying again. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah. No. Hey. Yeah. As was I the weekend. Right. Wow. Another huge one. This is really gonna. I mean, we know for a fact that about 30% of the players look at forums and go on the Facebook, because a lot of people don't even have Facebook, and go on Discord, etc., etc. But that's not all the players. There's a considerable player base that don't do any of this stuff. This is going to rock their world when they see this, when they've been in the same sector for the whole of the time they've ever played BP. Because basically, yes, we're keeping 5 worlds. This is the situation. So you'll still get, you know, I mean, starting in Alpha World and the event starts on this time, and well, no, I'm in Epsilon and that sort of stuff. But they're going to shrink everything down, and that's why I've literally stole their little picture there. So if you're in sector, you know, shouldn't say 100 because that's not right, because that's not quite correct, buddy. But basically, if you're in 101, you know, everybody that was in 121, 141, 161, 181, that sort of stuff, you're all going to get shrunk into one sector. It's as simple as that. So you're going to get zapped in together, basically, and then that's going to have a knock-on effect for the 102, the 103, and that sort of stuff. So, and same for us. I mean, a classic example is now Robin is in a sector that's literally 10 higher than my home sector and that sort of stuff, and we're going to end up in the same sector. Yay, party time.
Hey, that's only because you promised free beer and barbecue.
Yeah.
In fact, I mentioned that.
You mentioned it and then told me that was happening. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because half my alliance is already over there waiting.
Yeah. TSN's going to prep.
Now, just to be clear, let's pretend I haven't been paying attention. It doesn't say the day; it just says it's going to be in November.
It just says sometime in November.
Day.
Yeah.
No.
But one good thing is they're going to allow you to hop around a little bit for a week, because clearly they're not going to get 100% right. Sorry, shouldn't laugh so much, but it's not going to be perfect. So, you know, they are going to allow you to hop around a little bit and that sort of stuff, you know, for every day as well. It's not just you know, it's not just like once a week and stuff. You can change location daily. Probably every 24 hours, actually, probably not, you know, within the 24 hours, but you can just jig around. But remember what it was like in the old days? You had to, because if they're going to consolidate everybody down and they're going to have, you know, big alliances with other alliances and that sort of stuff. So the inter-alliance moves of large alliances trying to get into a sector, that will tail off as it did many, many moons ago, 4 or 5 years,
yeah.
Well, sorry, 3 or 4 years ago.
I made some assumptions. Okay,
go on, mate.
Based on just how many inactive bases one sees when you go hitting random bases and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And all those level 1, 2, 3 bases you see on the map. And, you know, looking at that consolidation, raid participation. So I just did some, here's my educated guess, and you can get back to that once they do it. I expect we'll see between 10 and 15 player bases around each subsector base once they do that.
And it used to be a lot more, didn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about it, I've got pictures, and I went back and double checked. You know, and some people said, "Oh, there used to be 3,000 in this." Well, that was the maximum capability. You know, but I have got some old screenshots, and I've got, and I can show them, and I'll probably put them up at the weekend. So I've got screenshots of nearly, you know, because I was born in 217, that sort of stuff. And I used to, you know, in the old days, we used to write down coordinates and keep all the people's things. And I used to zoom right out and take the whole sector, and then go and visit every single base when I was a massive hitter and that sort of stuff. And I would take pictures of every single base and put them in a file that I know where they were, what coordination they were, and then what their base looked like. You know,
no, I'm just saying that because I don't know if people realize that each sector has 36 subsector bases. It's a lot of subsector bases because the sector is 600 by 600 coordinates.
Yeah.
And you have 6 by 6 subsector bases, the old draconian bases, we call them, right? So it's 36 per sector. So if we get 10 bases around each one, you're talking about 360 active players per sector on average. If we get 15, which is the upper limit I'm thinking about,
by 40.
Yeah, well, how many is that? 15 times 30, I don't know, 360 plus half of it is what?
Yeah, 500.
180.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 360 plus 180. So it's 500 and something active players per sector.
540.
Should make things interesting.
540, as Daniel said, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So my main concern is just that, and I know they're saying they're going to increase spawn of targets and reduce the size of the icons on the map. So, but still, that's going to be 500 players, maybe 300, 500 players looking for uranium, looking for titanium, looking for FM targets. I am curious about how that's going to play out.
Yeah, no, totally agree. It'll be, yeah.
And those players who sometimes like to move to a quiet sector to catch up, forget about that.
No chance. That's done. Yeah. And those individuals that like hitting dead bases to go and get your rally points each week, that's done.
Well, but that base doesn't give points anymore, right?
Yeah, it does.
Well, yeah, the dock repairs. Never mind.
Yeah, it does, which is a lot of people have been doing that. You know, I've been keeping an eye on the world and that sort of stuff, you know, even advising some of my lower guys to do it. But if they haven't got a decent fleet to go out and hit with, you know, we've got some guys that only do PvE, you know. But I still want the alley points because it helps everybody else for reload and turn and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, and there are plenty of individuals that do that sort of stuff. So, yeah, interesting. It's going to be enlightening how world comms, because they're going to turn everything off basically, which we'll get to in a second. But that's basically how it's going to happen. So if, you know, look at the third column along 102, so 122, 142, 62, 82. That's it. Zip, in you go, all together. So if you're not on one of these sectors, you know, that sort of, I'm sure they're going to talk about on world comms, they're bound to, and that sort of stuff, you know. But people are going to be a little bit shocked, I think, if they haven't logged on for a while and all of a sudden they log back in. And then all of a sudden they're going to go, hang on a minute, I've just moved sectors. I didn't want to do that. Why have I moved? And even if they have moved. So those are on the periphery sectors. That's what I'm interested in. So the people are right on the very, very edge. So who's in sector 400, for example, and that stuff, and then who's in sector 399? Is it going to work quite right and that sort of stuff? And are they going to be pushed into another world? Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, right. Okay, so that's that page done. Unless you want anything else you want to talk about on there, Robin? No?
Yeah, no, I did want to bring, just before we go into detail, and Ren kind of touched on this, I did get permission to talk about this from Chris. A lot of people are concerned about, oh my gosh, this is so quick, and they're just, you know, putting this out there, and what about this, what about that, how, you know, this is not something that they just thought up a couple of weeks ago. This is actually something that Kix has been working on for a good couple of months. There have been a lot of discussions on how this whole works. There have been discussions with players, alliance leaders, and that type of stuff. So this is not something that Kix has just said, we're going to do this in this particular way. There has been a lot of backwards and forwards with various people on this. So there's a lot of things that Kix has done to think about how to mitigate some of these things. And so we can jump on to the next slide, start talking through some of these things. But there's 3 steps to this. The first one is the reaping of the inactive bases from the map. Yay, I'm sure everybody's happy about this. There's a bunch of old itty bitty bases. There's bases where people have no longer played. And of course, there's the ever present banned bases. They're all gone. That will help reduce some of the memory usage. They are increasing the spawn of the sector map targets. These are not your FM targets, but these are the things that are around the SSRBs. So your uranium, your base parts, titanium targets, they're going to increase those. They're also changing the size of all map targets. So, and I put some examples here of things. You look for the 85 nav relay, and the map takes you there, and it's buried underneath 2 Legion colonies underneath something else. So, reducing those footprints will also help not hide other targets and also accommodate for the extra targets that are supposed to be in there. And then a part of doing this is that they're going to be looking at performance balancing as well, and are there areas for improvement? So that's step one. I believe step one is happening today, which is the reaping of the bases, I think, was what was mentioned. I know part of it was going to happen today. Not the move for everybody, but just map targets. I think the target's size changes today with the release here in a little bit.
Robbie, can I interject a question?
Yeah.
Did they define what equals an inactive base, how long a person hasn't logged in for?
That is not something that they are willing to share.
Okay.
They have a definition, they just don't share that. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I hadn't heard one, but thought it, just put it out there.
I mean, and they mentioned this. I mean, if you haven't logged in for a week, I very much doubt that your base is going to disappear. If you've not logged in for 6 months, then probably, yes, your base would be included in that. If you've not logged in for a couple of months, or let's say I decide not to log in for a couple of months, your base isn't being deleted. Your base is just being put off into kind of like a quiet area, on hold. And if you do log in, then your base has not been deleted. Everything stays the same way it is. And that's just as it was in the past when they did reap the bases.
But it won't guarantee to go back into the same sector.
No, it won't be back in the same sector, no.
Yeah. So it might take you a little while to go and find the rest of your alliance.
Folks in the YouTube chat, so I think it was Senabon, she raised a good point. With the relocating, resetting every day, people will be able to come in, hit your base, and move to another ward right away, pretty much.
Only for a week.
Yeah,
I know. It's going to be fun. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. So part 2 is getting everything ready for the actual migration itself. Obviously positioning yourself for the move. If you're somebody that's with an alliance, this isn't a one and done. It's not like you're going to get split up and never be able to be back with your alliance again, but there will be a short period of time where you can't. But it makes sense if you have the opportunity to get all your alliance folks together so that everybody in the sector moves, as one group, and you're not trying to figure out where everybody's at. So you've got time to do that. They're also going to turn expeditions off prior to the move. Obviously, we don't want kicks migrating bases while your expedition fleets are off in the middle of doing things and causing all sorts of issues with the migration. So those will be turned off prior to. And obviously, any fleets that you have out on the map, anything that you've got hidden, your sniping fleet, something underneath the Jack base, those will all be docked prior to the move as well. So you're not going to lose any of those fleets. The bad thing is that they cannot save the bookmarks. So if you've got bookmarks of somebody that's, in sector or in the 20 sectors that are going to be kept, then you might want to write those down. They did look at trying to keep those, but they're not able to. Okay, and then part 3. Part 3 is they're going to drop the worlds down to 20 sectors. So instead of 100 sectors, it's now going to be 20. After the consolidation, as we've touched on, they're going to have 7 days where you can relocate for free. You'll be able to do that basically 1 jump a day. So if somebody does not or is on vacation when all of this happens, because we don't know what time or when that happens, if somebody needs to go ahead and jump, they can do that pretty close afterwards. And so that's going to be open for 7 days. Then we're going to have no changes to sector threat at this time. No changes to sector threat at this time, but tuning may be required later on. And then the HQ app functionality for the world map will be disabled as well.
Yeah, I can see the logic in that, but it's going to be annoying. But yeah, it is what it is. Right. How can you prepare? You can do quite a lot. talking is a good idea. Speak to your alliance, make sure you're all huddled together and that sort of stuff. Put a little safety net alliance leaders around your alliance if you wish to. Make sure they're all in the right place this week before the raid starts and that sort of stuff, just in case it happens a week after. Because obviously, don't forget, once you're in raid, you can't relocate and that sort of stuff. So it may be a good idea to huddle together and take note of that. It also says then, you know, move early if you want to be in a set spot. You know, you may want to go and be really annoying and next to somebody and that sort of stuff, and pick on your favorite person and persecute them forever, you know, until they move again. But yeah, so if you like a particular corner in a sector, do a little group huddle and that sort of stuff. And as it says, record your base. They're even telling you this. Record your base and that sort of stuff. So have a little look through your stuff. You know, find a desktop record and that sort of stuff. And that's the best way to do it, is to do a video and then upload it and forget about it on Google Drive or something like that. You know, but go for everything, all your specials, all your bits and bobs, everything you've got. You know, whether you got everything at R15 and that sort of stuff. I would go through and check out absolutely everything, all your ship builds particularly. And have a look at that. And yeah, save your bookmarks as written down there as well, because it'll be interesting when you've got nothing. And there are key things as to what those things are. So those are the key things. So.
With the recording of the base, and I found this out just recently, there's two ways that you can do this that makes it really quick instead of having to click through every ship and every turret. When you're recording your base, if you go to your base planner view and hover over your turret, it tells you what specials are on there. So you don't need to click on each turret and find all of those and do that. You just hover over it and it does that. And then
ship's the same, yeah. You can literally just hover over a ship, press the shift key, and it will show you everything that's on it. So
yeah, well, and even outside of that, if you go to like the storage mode, and when it brings up that storage page, you can scroll up and see the ships that are not in storage. It actually shows the information that's on there as well, so you don't have to do that. Click on this fleet, go through all of those, and then click down here and go through all of the other ships. So, but yes, definitely would do that. I mean, obviously, Kix is going to put checks and balances in place to make sure that hopefully this works smoothly, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to have backup just in case something does go wrong.
You know, it's like with tickets, they love their pictures. Right, Daniel, this one is yours, mate.
Good. Bug fixes and balance changes. So resources, glowing nav reload and mega convoys now correctly display at water titanium. Side note to go with that, in case anybody's forgotten, but here we're only a couple days away from no more of our glowing nav relays for our Skyfires and our Phoenixes. Those go away. I think it's after the event. Yes. Technically, you could say when the event starts because they don't come back. So load up on them now, and then you may not have much use for Skyfires and Phoenixes going forward. I'm not sure if we've tested to see if Phoenixes can work on the low-level mega convoys or not, but that may upset a few players' boats.
Only the very low ones. I did manage to get Phoenixes to do the 81, but it was only just.
Okay. It's hardly efficient, that's for sure.
No.
So, and then the category that we all know I love, other general bug fixes and performance improvements, of which we will not enumerate.
So I grabbed this one out of the week looking forward the last little bit. It wasn't obviously part of the thing, but I grabbed the last little bit. 31st then, it's just because the monthly calendar come out and it looking ahead. And it says actually look for it on the Discord channel. So there's a bit of a disparity to where things are normally displaced and that sort of stuff. So taking a look at some of the major sort of things that are coming out, Discord in the top, I posted in Sidebar Chat to the channel. You don't actually have to download Discord if you're on a PC and that sort of stuff. You can just actually save the page. I'll stick it back up again for you. You can just save the page literally as a a web browser page. So you haven't actually downloaded any app on your PC. Just go into it, have a little look at it, and save it as a bookmark. But yeah, if that's what they're choosing, they are choosing various mediums to get their information out. They said that was an intended thing to do. So yeah, anyway, that's about it. I like saving the end until Daniel's doing it because he sounds like a public service announcer to me. So that's cool.
New career.
You heard it here first. Right. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to finish the slides there, and then we're going to hand over to Ren because he wants to say a few words.
Just a sec. I'm opening a ticket.
Oh, right.
I was doing a TLC and they started maintenance and I just can't join the battle, so now my crew's going to go to waste.
So maintenance, has anybody got the forum up? If they've started maintenance, that means if they put the raid information out yet?
Oh, sometime
I've got it up and checking.
Okay, mate. Have a quick look if you want.
I was just saying, some time ago, it used to pop up a notification in sector comms that, hey, game is going to start maintenance. Don't start anything in 30 minutes, in 5. That's not popping up anymore, and was really helpful because now you only see that there's maintenance and battles are down once you leave full screen mode. And I had the game full screen on my right screen, so.
Yeah, that's annoying, isn't it? Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, you just get the little flash up. It's going to go down in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then that's it, sort of stuff.
That was helpful.
Minutes. Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, tickets submitted. I do not see a raid update. I'm just refreshing forums once more.
Okay.
I've been monitoring it. It isn't there.
Okay.
They did say
so what I wanted to show you guys
go on, mate.
is...
I'll share your screen if you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'll get there just a sec. Boom, boom. Share.
Yeah, I'll lock on you now, mate.
Can you see my nice spreadsheet?
Yep, you shared, mate.
So I did this once before when they flipped us from Tide Seekers to Hunters to show how much worse the Hunters were collecting uranium. Like the repair time was threefold when using Hunters, right? So I did that again this time, comparing the performance of Skyfires, hitting level 85s on auto. So the setup for both fleets, the Skyfires and the Scattergun Manticores, both on auto, both with their flagships and not using cruise on any of them. Because the new target's level 95, they pay 30,000. With 5 targets, you get 150,000, as you can see here, right? The old targets, the level 85s, they pay 25, so you gotta hit 6 to get to 150,000. So I'm comparing apples to apples.
Yep.
And I just want to highlight that, you know, with 5 targets with my Manticores, I ended up with nearly 6 hours of repairs.
Nearly double, yeah.
Right? And with my Skyfires, I ended up with 3 hours and 25 minutes. So I just want to say, as you pointed out, it's nearly double. So again, the game is going in a direction where to get the same amount of resources, you end up with a lot more repair time, which is putting a lot of stress on my dock. I can't keep up repairing all my fleets. When I do FM, sure, my Inferno Dragons can hit a whole bunch of 120s on auto. And sure, my Scatter Mantis can hit enough 95s on auto. But in the end, I have 25, 30 hours of repairs, you know, because I do the TLC. The TLC is 10 hours, the one now for the flagships, 10 hours. And I'm doing for tokens, right?
Right.
10 hours. And now I do 5 titanium targets, 6 hours. And then I do my FM, and it's another 6, 7, 8 hours. It's just really unsustainable. And it's another big thing turning me off. Every time they're transitioning us to a new tier, like they did from Tide Seekers to Hunters, and it doubled. And now you see doubles again. To me, that's just unacceptable. I mean, I don't know if they look at that before making the changes, if it's done by design to screw with players and make the game more expensive to play, or if they just don't think about stuff like that. But I'm just sharing, and I hope someone from Kickside looks at this and says, hey, this is wrong. Either we got to tune down the targets, or we got to cut down the repair time on these Manticores. It's just not sustainable.
Yeah, I agree. They stink for repair, without a doubt. I don't. Yeah, and it was the Skyfire flagship that made it fantastic, you know. But
yep.
And I don't think they could fix it with a new piece of technology to add to the Manti that would suddenly change the equation either.
No, just reduce the repair multiplier on the fleet. That's it.
Right.
Simple as, yeah, literally that, and that can be done next Tuesday. As quick as that.
Either you tune down the target or you cut down the repair time. Cutting down the repair time is a no-brainer.
And it's a chore, and it's not, you know, Ozzy's on there, bless him, and he's saying, you know, don't do it on auto, that's great. But the whole idea of doing the BP app is so that you can do that sort of stuff. We keep saying that. If you're trying to sell us something, which is the BP app, to do our chores, that sort of stuff.
And again, don't do on auto. I mean, that's great for people who are retired, who are on disability, who live with their moms. I mean, but honestly, if you have a full-time job and you have a family, you do not have time to drive through your FM, drive through titanium targets, drive through uranium targets, drive through TLCs. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, did you hear Rain at the weekend? I mean, she did a full working week. She had to fly off to do this meeting, come back to this meeting, that sort of stuff, but still likes to play the game and is a big alliance leader and that sort of stuff. And she's like, right, now what do? I've got to do my FM and catch up on that, but I also want to do this TLC and that needs the same fleet and I've got to do this. So to do my routine stuff now, and because time is precious, she would have to coin then.
And again,
the basics in the game.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And the same people saying, oh, don't do an auto, or the same people who have time to roll through 3 million uranium to get the right cruise.
I don't really use cruise anymore. I've stopped.
I don't have that kind of time, and I suppose nobody with a full-time job and a family has that kind of time, but we still like to play the game. And guess what? I have disposable income to spend if I'm having a good time. It's just that this is ridiculous, okay? Every time doubling repair. Right? I mean,
it's not a good business model. It isn't a good business model.
No, we used to be able to do FM with Citadels on the back and Punisher as a tank, and you just repair the Punisher. It was really cool. We used to be able to do uranium with Tide Seekers, and you do a whole bunch of them and have 2-hour repairs. And then with the Hunters went to 6 hours.
Yeah,
right?
It is crazy. I mean, there's been some crazy PvP fleets as well.
And we know we can look at these skirmish targets now, and we can see that the ships don't do them well on auto because of the cryofields and all the kind of stuff, and the circling subs and everything. These targets are not friendly for being done on autopilot. So I can only imagine this is going to get worse when they recycle the current uranium targets with the new ones. This is driving me away from the game. That's the message I wanted to put in here. It's not one thing. It's everything.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry.
You're cutting out a bit there. Robin, sorry, mate. Okay, mate. No, got you. Robin, sorry, come on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say to compound on that, and regardless of the auto versus the drive issue, in some of these targets, you almost have guaranteed damage. So it doesn't matter how well you drive versus how you auto. If you've got one fleet down because of a TLC, you run your FM fleet down, getting all of your targets, whether you can do it in one run or whether you need a couple, and then you're off doing something else. You've now essentially locked your dock for 2.5, 3 days worth of repairs. So forget doing any PvP,
No, exactly, and that was a quandary that Raina was in. Absolutely. It's just like, so what do I go for first? So she knew FM takes priority. Of course it does. But there were some things there she wanted. We know refractors coming. She wanted some tokens for turrets to plan ahead and that sort of stuff. Wanted to look at that TLC, and it's like, well, I've only got so many hours as well. I've also got a family, I haven't seen them because I've been away, and it's supposed to be fun. So I don't know. It is frustrating. And you're right. The worst thing that's happened, I think, is there's not hardly a single target that you can get away with going, I've built a really good fleet and I can really drive well, but I'm still getting knocked because I'm getting damaged,
And again, I mean, if I wanted to drive, if I had, no job and no kids and no family, and I had all the time in the world to play Battle Pirates, I can get my missile manticores and I can drive on these titanium targets and I can do them for like 15 minutes repair. Great. I do not have that kind of time for this game. So either I'm going to stop playing if it keeps going like that, or they fix that kind of stuff. It's not sustainable. I'm sorry.
Right. So a little bit of sidebar information that's just coming in. The radio is just confirming a few things. He mixed up his Tuesdays, which is nice. That's pleasing. So we thought that sector consolidation is actually going to kick in tomorrow, but that doesn't seem to be happening now. On Tuesday the 6th of November, he was doing a live stream at 4 p.m.-ish Cali time to explain the details of it. Okay, so there you go. That's the information that we've got. So Tuesday the 6th, okay, bear in mind it's the 30th now, so obviously it's next Tuesday.
Sorry, is it going live tomorrow, the sector thing?
No, he mixed up his Tuesday. So he's doing it on Tuesday the 6th. That's what I'm saying. So the initial post went out saying I'm doing it on Tuesday, but it was the wrong Tuesday. So a week on Tuesday, he's doing a live talk about it, which means it probably then will come in the weekend after that, I can imagine. So because obviously we'll still be in the middle of updating from the raid and that sort of stuff. So, but the raid has just put a couple of bits in the sidebar chat. We'll find it. We'll post it on the page and that sort of stuff,
Oh, and apparently Mike from Kickside just said that he expects to be a lot more than 300 players per sector, right?
Yeah, I clocked that. Yeah. I'll just scroll back up again. He does expect to be considerably more than 300 per sector.
Okay, because I said 360 to 540. That was my guess. So let's see. I mean, you call me on that if I'm too far off.
Yeah, well, do the math thing. I mean, basically, it's going to be 100 sectors now, isn't it? That's it. That's basically what we're going to have across the 5 worlds, 100 sectors, you know, so 100 times 300, that sort of stuff. You know, then your numbers. I double checked our page just out of interest to see. I mean, not exactly science, obviously, it's a very loose tool. We've got about 6,500 to 7,500 active participants on the TFC page that regularly log in, because we can look at statistics in the background and we know exactly who's logged in, how many days they've logged in, when was the last time they logged in, all that sort of stuff. So we've got some pretty good metrics, and we're getting around sort of 6,500 to 7,500, depending on how good a event has happened that month, footfall every month basically on the TFC page. So which then you'd like to think that's roughly about how many people of the percentage of the total player base that are actually sort of playing. And we know that we've only got about a 30% slice roughly of the total player base. So even though we're like the most active page on Facebook. So that's a rough sort of idea. So yeah, I envisage it to be definitely more than 300 players per sector without a doubt, which will be interesting. And so that's more than 10 per around each subsector base, isn't it then, Ren? Is that right? If there's 36 of them, 300, split that, take a 0 off, it's going to be, sorry, 30 around each. No, it won't be. It'll be 10 around each one, sorry.
Yeah, that's why I said I expect between 10 and 15 bases
that sounds about right,
each.
Mate. Yeah.
Which is a 360 to 540 players per sector.
And
that's
an
estimate, and I made a lot of assumptions here. I don't have anything official. So.
And it used to be 25 to 30 around each one, definitely, because I did the as Robin was chatting there.
I was in a very, very busy sector a few weeks ago, and I counted. And around my SSRB, the one I was around, there were 27 active players.
Yeah.
And it was crowded as hell. It was not pleasant. I mean, you couldn't see anything on the map. It was just stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. And you try to find a target, like for Titanium, and you had to go 2 sectors out because the sector was so busy.
Although you tried to hit a base as well, like in Bounty, when the FM targets were out still and that sort of stuff, you're trying to hit a base, you couldn't even see the darn thing because the FM targets were smothering it. You
covering everything.
You couldn't damn well hit it. It was nightmare.
But they're going to fix that, right? That's what they said.
Should be. I mean, yeah. Why the FM targets can't just be in your tower and on your thingy, and just you can, because no one needs to see you hitting that stuff, do they? So, but anyway, that's a different situation. Right, Daniel. Anything else you want to talk about, mate, before we finish for the evening?
No, we've covered everything pretty well. Just a reminder: make sure you're topping off your stuff before it starts. Get your uranium, titanium, and whatever resources, because we know these fleets don't bring in any resources. So make sure you're stocked.
Yeah, strongly advise from myself then to get yourself into the correct sector before raid kicks off, because you never know when this shrinkage is going to kick in. So be thoughtful and do it early. Raid is always a slight annoyance because obviously it locks not only down into your sector, but also you can't go into world as well. So there we go. Robin, anything from you, young lady?
No, nothing from me. Everybody said. I hope that Kickers takes the time to listen to the show and listen to the concerns, because it pretty much echoes what everybody's been saying for the last couple of days.
I mean, yeah, and they're genuine concerns. We're not just grumbling for sake. You know, it is our opinion, but also absorbed from your opinion, as in the player base as well. I watch World Comms a lot. You know, and I do pick up and write down and jot down things every now and again. And I do go onto Discord, although I don't tend to use it a great deal. You know, I think that's for the player base, and you don't want to hear me on there too much. But I do write down things from there as well, and I try to, you know, I try to really sort of like consolidate and then go, right, I've seen that twice now. I've seen that 3 times, and I just want a little tick sheet of things that do pop up. So, Ren, anything you want to close on, mate?
No.
That was simple then. All I'll say then is it's Halloween tomorrow night, isn't it? Is that right? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. And you guys, is your clocks changing this coming weekend?
I believe it is.
Right. So there's
over the raid, yeah.
Yeah. So that will be interesting. So we get an extra hour of raid. Is that right?Roughly, technically, by the book. So the clocks do change, so that's fine. That means then for the UK personnel, the show will actually be on the weekend at 9 p.m. And then as soon as we get through the weekend, it's same time for you guys over there. But for the UK people, it's 9 p.m. And then basically once we get through the clock changes then for the guys over in the stateside, then we'll be back to absolutely normal for everybody. So, but the little time sort of chart I put up is accurate always because I do it on the night every time I do it. So yeah, we're good. Right. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have an interesting raid. If there's nothing more than the Apollo that's in there and you're not interested in SSRBs, you could even sit it out. You know, it's up to you. See what else is there. If it's not that interesting, leave it alone. Go have a weekend with your family.
I'm just going to make an apart on what you said. I mean, when you said if you're not interested in SSRBs, don't grab the proto Apollos, but maybe just like it happened when the Hunters sucked doing uranium and the proto Tide Seekers do a lot better.
Mm.
I'm thinking if my Scattergun Manticores suck at doing these new titanium targets, as you saw the chart, maybe the proto Apollos will do for half the repair time. I don't know. Do I want to build another fleet? No, I don't. But I'm just saying they might be useful for that, for chores on auto. I don't know.
We'll see. Like I said, I'm only building one of the skirmish fleets. And
what I love the most is I just loaded the game again, and it pops up this offer. Do you want to give us $200 for some coins? I'm like, I'm really not in the mood of them asking me for $200. You know,
mine was £250 English or something. Or I was like, I don't think so. You aren't getting a penny.
No, I don't. You know,
not a penny at the moment. I want to see Refactor laid out on the table. Show me everything, all the stats, all the things, and then I'll decide if I'm going to carry on coining. Yep. So I ain't spending a penny until that's done.
Don't know about you, but I'm only building blanks on my conquest here.
Mate, if you're firing blanks, that's your own problem. Right, on that note.
Son of a gun.
Wow. Love you, mate. Right, take care. Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.